Hello everybody, my name is Eric and I want to talk to you about the takedown buffs to Nidalee and why they're not really all that much of a buff. Barring all the math, if you want to follow through it, it's kind of sloppy, but currently the maximum amount of damage that takedown will deal is physical damage, and it's 615. In the future it will be 970 magical damage with 400 AP on your takedown. So you'll deal about 360 more damage to a target with takedown that's low on health. Yes, this is strong, you're dealing a lot more damage, but when a target has 2,000 health total, 20% of that is 400 HP. This takedown would have killed that 400 HP target. This takedown will just kill that target harder. Like, they both do that. They could literally make this say 969 bajillion. Like, it doesn't matter how much damage they add to this. It's going to kill the target the same way that the previous takedown will kill them. So everyone's looking at this AP ratio and saying, ah, yes, it now has an AP ratio. She can execute things better and she can kill. You could execute things fine before. The only difference is now it just has a higher number. It looks prettier on the statistics, but you're never going to be able to use that extra damage. And this is the thing that concerns me, is it seems as though Riot is justifying nerfs not only to her spear, but to her takedown, her pounce, and her swipe. Well, they're not nerfing takedown, but they're justifying nerfs to her pounce and her swipe by buffing takedown. But the trouble is, this buff to takedown, you're never going to really utilize unless your target has a very large amount of health, or unless your target is like bizarrely in a perfect level of health. But the problem is, if they have more health than 400 and their max is 2,000, you're not going to see this value. It's going to be heavily nerfed, or it's not going to be heavily nerfed, but you're going to see a lot less amplification. If this health value is now, let's say, 500 health, that's about a 7% damage reduction on this. Which you might say, 7%, that's not a lot. That's about 50 damage. You lose about 50 damage for every 100 health that the target has. If they have 600 health, you lose about 15% damage on this already. If they have 700 health, that's 22%. And if they have 800 health, that's still less than 50% health. You're going to be losing about 30% damage on this. You're not going to be able to execute a target with 40% health with these, even with these buffs. Unless Riot decides to have something that affects the current health threshold. So if you have more AP, you'll be able to execute somebody with max amplification higher. So for example, right now, people are going to say this is a buff, by the way. This is not a buff. Currently it's 300% amplification that ramps up from 0 to 100% health. They're going to make it 250% amplification that goes from 20% to 100% health. This buff mixed with this nerf, they kind of cancel each other out, more or less. I believe this is actually a heavier nerf. And I'll go through the math on that in the future if you want me to. But regardless, unless Riot does something where this current health value changes, unless this increases by like 1% for every 30 AP you have or something like that, this extra damage they're applying to takedown is never actually going to be used. You're literally just going to be hitting the dead body with more damage. It's hitting them, it's killing them harder. But all you need to do is kill them. There's no benefit to this buff other than just like bragging rights. You can say, I did more damage in the post-game screen. But overall, you're not going to be able to utilize this to win. So I assumed that the spear was going to get nerfed pretty heavily, and that I figured, you know what, that's fine. They nerfed it pretty heavily. We lost about 180 damage on the spear minimum, and up to 300 damage maximum when you have 400 AP. And I said, you know what, that's fine as long as they don't break anything else. But we lost a hell of a lot of damage on swipe and swipe and pounce, and they shifted that damage to takedown. But you're never going to use that damage on takedown, so essentially they've just removed extra damage from Nidalee's Cougar form. And I don't know if they just didn't realize that this would never be used, but it won't, and it's frustrating to me that this is the case, because I really do enjoy Nidalee. But if this buff goes through the way that it is, I will never be playing Nidalee again, and I will probably be closing this YouTube account. I won't be making any more Nidalee videos because these nerfs will be just too much. Every part of Nidalee's kit will have been nerfed, and she will receive very, very little in compensation. So people are going to say, oh, but you get Nidalee level 1. Yeah, they nerfed her overall ratios on her ultimate. Her ultimate will now deal less damage at level 6 and level 11 and level 16 because she gets at level 1. I would say, you know what, fuck it. Let us have Nidalee at level 6, keep Nidalee's Cougar form away from her at level 1 if we can keep the old ratios on everything. And I'd say, you know, that's fine. But because they're nerfing everything, I don't think it's all that great on level 1 Cougar form. You're not going to deal that much damage. So I know I sound very biased. I am, clearly, because I play a lot of Nidalee. But just looking at the math overall here, it's an extremely heavy nerf for nothing. Like, there's nothing you gain out of this. So I just advise Riot to be a little bit more cautious about how they go about this, because with the way that they're justifying the nerfs to her Kruger form, that by buffing Takedown, they're really not giving Nidalee players anything extra to work with. They're just making it look like she can do more damage. Like, it's very tricky. It's kind of like a con. It's a bait and switch. Like, oh, we've shifted damage to Takedown, but you're never going to use that damage. So it's like paying someone with Monopoly money. Yeah, it looks cool. You gave them tons of money, but it's worthless. So I'm kind of ranting at this point, but you probably didn't need to watch this whole video. Thanks if you watched the whole video. If you want to watch my stream, you can, but that'll be linked somewhere in the description maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Good God, I'm ranting so much. But thanks for watching. I hope that this explanation of the nerfs to Nidalee, lack of buff to Takedown worked. If it didn't, sorry. Yeah, I'll try to clarify it if you have any questions in the comments. But see you later.